Looking at this Chargers versus Eagles matchup coming up on Monday Night Football, I'm honestly feeling way more optimistic than I thought I would just a few weeks ago. When I first looked at this game on the schedule, I immediately penciled it in as a loss. Even when we were calculating playoff chances, we were considering this as a loss. I mean, you're talking about the defending Super Bowl champions with arguably the best roster in football. But the more I dive into what's actually happening with the Eagles right now, the more I'm thinking this is a game the Chargers can actually win. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Let's start with what's good about Philadelphia, because there's still plenty of talent on this roster. They're currently leading the NFC East, and despite all the dysfunction and poor stats we're seeing, AJ Brown is still ESPN's 5th-ranked wide receiver in terms of open score and yards after catch. Devontae Smith is inside the top 30 receivers and already has over 800 yards receiving, actually more than AJ Brown at this point. Lane Johnson, who probably won't play in this game, has only allowed 7 total pressures all year, which is insane for a right tackle. Jordan Davis is top 5 in run stops and top 10 in run defense grade among all starting caliber defensive tackles. Jaylen Carter, who I just found out won't play this week, is top 10 in pressures and top 20 in pass rush win rate. That's huge for us. Jalen Phillips, who's dealing with a concussion, has 18 pressures in just 4 games since being traded to Philadelphia. And they potentially have 2 of the top 6 corners in the league with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Eagles fans are so upset with Kevin Patullo, their offensive coordinator, that they literally went and egged his home. I know Eagles fans are intense, but that's objectively crazy. The Eagles have had a lot of coaches poached over the years, and they haven't done a good enough job finding replacements. When you lose a legitimate top-tier play caller to a head coaching position, it can be very difficult to recover from that. Here's what shocked me the most about the Eagles' offense. Last year at this time, Saquon Barkley had 1,500 yards rushing. They were 1st in EPA per rush and 5th in rushing success rate. Right now, he has 740 yards, which isn't bad, but it's not historically good like last year. And get this, they're currently 21st in EPA per rush and 20th in success rate. I could not believe my eyes when I saw those numbers. The difference between last year and this year with their rushing attack is staggering. Last year, they could just hand the ball off to Saquon, and he would go nuclear. That's just not happening this year. When you look at rushing yards over expected per attempt, Saquon is a bottom 10 player this season after what he did last year. It's the Madden cover curse or something, I don't know. Watching him play the last couple weeks, it just feels like the Eagles' offense overall is lifeless. The vibes are weird. You watch Saquon now and you're like, where's the guy who went backwards and hurdled over someone? Where's the guy who was breaking off 60 and 70-yard runs? That was what Saquon was like last year. It's so strange. The offensive line issues are real too. Tyler Steen ranks 50th out of 60 qualified guards in passing efficiency rating. Landon Dickerson, who's the 2nd highest paid guard in the league, making over $20 million, is 58th. He's actively bad in pass protection this year. They were 6th in pass block win rate last year. They're 19th this year. Without Lane Johnson in this game, that makes things even worse for them. Now let's flip back to the Chargers and talk about Justin Herbert and his injury situation. The team and Herbert have been pretty optimistic this week that he's going to play. He didn't participate in practice yesterday, but was limited today. Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman have said Trey Lance will take the majority of first-team reps this week, but Herbert was asked if he doesn't practice fully all week, would he be comfortable playing? And he basically said he's done this several times before. I would put $100 on him playing. To me, it's more about whether he can finish the game. Can he protect himself? Can the line protect him? Can Greg Roman protect Justin Herbert? He came back in the Raiders game, they got on the podium and said they were optimistic about him playing. He's the kind of guy who would play. You follow Phillip Rivers, you play. You get out there if you can. So yeah, he's playing. My only concern is how much Trey Lance gets involved in short yardage situations. Herbert can't go under center, and the Chargers have been so good at the touch push this year. Their success rate is better than almost anybody except the Eagles. That's been the saving grace. But you can't do that with Justin Herbert out there with his hand injury. So I think Trey Lance needs to come in for some short yardage situations, maybe 4 to 8 times in this game. Do some zone reads where he could potentially keep it, maybe be the sneak guy. It would help diversify the game plan.
The Eagles' defense is still really talented even without Jaylen Carter. You still have Jalen Phillips, Nolan Smith, Zach Bond. The corners are great. Vic Fangio's calling plays. But when you take out a blue-chip player like Jaylen Carter, regardless of what position it is, it changes everything. We've all experienced this with offensive tackles this year or running backs or receivers. When the Eagles get to 3 edge rusher looks, they use Jaylen Carter as their one defensive tackle because he can still handle that attention. Do they have that same trust with Moro Ojamo? Do they have it with Jordan Davis? It's just a trickle-down effect. For our offense, I think the outside run game is going to be crucial. The Eagles on outside runs are allowing positive EPA per play, but when teams go inside, they're the best run defense in the league. Jordan Davis and Jaylen Carter, even without Carter now, they're outstanding defensive tackles. Teams going up to the edges are about the 10th best Russian defense, which is still really good, but when teams go up the middle against them, they're like one of the best ever run defenses. The Chargers' run blocking unit in terms of grades is the worst in the league, but our rushing grade overall is still like second or third. It's because when we go outside, we're almost always hitting an explosive run. We're averaging 5.1 yards per carry outside the tackles. If Kamani Vidal and Omarion Hampton are both playing, this should definitely be a thing. Get the receivers involved too. We did that pop pass with Trey Harris. We haven't seen a ton of Demarius Davis jet sweeps lately. Last week, Kamani had 8 carries that went outside the left tackle for 74 yards. Against the Jaguars, he had exactly 1 carry that went outside the tackle box. It's every other week with Greg Roman. One week, it's spam outside runs. Wow, what a day. Next week, run up the middle. Oh, what a bad day. If this is the week they decide to run Kamani Vidal at Jordan Davis, that's practically fireable. Why would that be your decision? I think Trey Harris could be a real X factor in this game. Last week, there were 3 yards after catch opportunities for him. 1 got delayed from a penalty. He had the pop pass and the slant. In a game where maybe it's more neutral game script, let's get Trey Harris the football 4 or 5 times in yards after catch concepts. He's really good at making people miss, he has a nice feel for those jet sweep areas, and he's willing to be physical. If it's 3rd and 2, he'll drop his shoulder. On defense, I'm most excited to see Khalil Mack. He had 6 pressures on like 14 pass rush reps against the Raiders according to Next Gen Stats. His run defense was great too. This feels like a game where Khalil Mack, who's been getting healthier and playing his best football of the season, comes out against his former team and just tries to set the tone early. Monday Night Football, national stage, playing against the backup right tackle and Fred Johnson, Jordan Mailata has actually allowed way more pressure than usual this year. This feels like a game where Matt can turn back the clock a little bit and show people he still has it. Our corner should be up for the challenge too. Jaylen Hertz only completes about 9% of his passes over 10 yards between the numbers. He wants to throw to the boundary. Throw to the boundary against Dante Jackson? Good luck with that. You can't throw on the boundary at Dante Jackson this year. It just gets picked off or deflected. And Cam Hart has been playing really well. These are 50-50 plays we're talking about with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and I think our corners will be up for the task. For playoff implications, the Chargers are sitting at about 61 to 63% of playoff probability right now. If we win, we're at 78%. If we lose, we're at 52%. So it's not a huge swing either way. This isn't a must-win game for us. We've bought so much goodwill being 4-0 in the AFC West. As long as we don't get embarrassed, I'm okay if we drop this game to get ourselves ready to play our best against the remaining AFC opponents. But after this game, no more excuses, no more chances. And if we win this, we will be very relaxed, and this will actually make other teams panic as well. After that, we have to play with the Texans. They're also playing tough games. We can set momentum for that game too. But you know what? Screw that. The Chargers are kicking the crap out of the Eagles this week. I think a combination of prime time, everyone picking the Chargers to lose, the negative vibes around Philadelphia, I'm picking the Chargers to win 30-27. The return game returns. Dicker is amazing. Herbert is amazing. They run like crazy. They beat him at the line of scrimmage. It's primetime. What else does this team do on primetime this year? They show up. I'm fired up about this one. Bolt up!